Hello and welcome to Dukascopy TV. I'm Andrew Saks-McLeod from Leaprate, and this is the Forex Industry Talk Show with Luis Sanchez, CEO of BMFN. Hi, Luis.
Hello, Andrew. How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you?
Same.
Good, good. And Borden James, Managing Partner and Director of BMFN. Hi, Borden.
Andrew, how are you?
Very well,
Good to see you.
Very nice to see you. And Patrick Oerer, CEO of Unitrader. Hi, Patrick.
Nice to see you too.
And today we're going to talk about factors to consider when penetrating a new market. Such a global business, the Forex industry. These matters of going to different countries are a very, very important matter at the moment in most companies.
Well, for example, we have a diversified company, okay? And we have experience in this field since we have multiple markets and local presence. So I guess Borden, since you have been from us since the beginning and you have started from the office number 1 in US until the last one.
Right.
Share us a little bit, I mean,
it's
what do you have
it's
to
kind of a
consider?
minefield in many ways, because you've got to do your homework before you go, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely.
You know, there are cultural customs, political customs, all kinds of aspects that you need to pay attention to when you're actually going to be on the ground. And it's not as easy as just setting up and showing up.
Yeah.
You know, you've got, and particularly the nature of this industry, it's a little bit maligned. So you've got to make sure that you can get your banking facilities in place. You've got to get insurance policies in place. And they're just, the environment is not very friendly towards that.
And even
so
to think about on the next year what changes could be. Evaluate it.
It's only going to get worse.
We're going to go today, how long we're going to stop.
Yeah.
Plus, we have the entire regulatory issues coming in
that's
as well. I mean, today, if you open a new branch or if you open a new office, you just cannot walk in and say, this is our office. So you either need to have a passported license or you need to be registering locally.
And even if you're an established company abroad, you can no longer rely on that license. It has to be a specific license to each country.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, look at BMFN ending up in 5 licenses for the moment.
Yeah.
So nowadays, if you cannot passport, like in Europe, which is a walk into the park, actually, as long as you're going to have other countries involved where those licenses are not accepted.
Right. This is all going to change, I think. You have Glenn Stevens. Think about Glenn Stevens, CEO of Gain Capital.
Yes.
He recently, his company purchased City Index, which is a British CFD company. It's 30 years in London.
Right.
The company paid $118 million for it. So Glenn is used to dealing with the NFA and the American, very organized American way of doing business. It's also a publicly listed company, they have to report. He goes to the UK, takes a look at the whole way everything is done there, and he actually said in a lot of mainstream newspapers recently that he's very concerned about this passporting system that you have between places like Malta and Cyprus and all other European states and the UK. So, you know, you can register somewhere and have a passport license to the FCA.
Right.
And he said that Mickey Mouse and Kermit the Frog could literally sign up and no one will check.
Wow. I wouldn't say it's that easy. I mean, I've been passporting for all the European countries with our Bulgarian license, and it is by far not so easy. Number one. Number two, MiFID II is coming and will be probably launched by 2016. So with all these changes of MiFID II, it won't be simple. It's not like a couple of years ago where you open a tied agent like that.
That's right.
You need to register like the license you have from the origin country needs to communicate with all those other regulatory bodies in different countries.
Right.
So, and accepted and
exactly.
approved.
And then what Borden said before, you come with the banking issue, and you want to be locally registered. You want to have local bank accounts as well, because clients want to have it easy and simple.
They do.
Why they want to send funds to a third-party country, right?
And there's another factor, so you have to look at the other way around. How does a company that operates in a normal free market economy, the brokerage, for example, and the technology provider, go to parts of the developing world where there are capital control laws, China, for example, which BMFN has been an absolute pioneer in the Chinese IB market, 4,500 IB, that's astonishing.
And growing.
Yes.
And growing. That's astonishing. And the thing is, that there's capital control. It's a communist country. You can't get the money out. There's all these algorithmic payment systems now, so that's one thing. But you go to somewhere like some of the places in Africa, Nigeria, where there's some IBs, they go to seminars and everything's face to face. So it would be potentially, if you went there and sourced them, a reasonable ground, but you can't get the money out.
Right.
Since Liberty Reserve went down, there's no possible way. So how do you overcome matters like that?
You have to research that before you get involved in the game. I think many people show up in China and think, well, we can open an office and just do business as usual. But it's a unique market, and you have to have some expertise in how you do that. So, your initial partners that you reach out to people that are on the ground. You have to have people on the ground.
Yes.
That's a very important
be aware
thing.
of local custom.
You cannot just bring somebody from the home.
Right.
And place it over there because he needs to understand the culture, he needs to understand the local way business is done, and he needs to drive the company.
And that being on the local ground has become very important. We're still talking about an online industry. So you may think about, hey, you have a couple of guys sitting somewhere in a call center, God knows where, but no, I mean, people, they want to, it's not even they visit you, but they want to know that you have an office. Right. They want to have the possibility.
They want to see you, they want to touch you, they want to be there, they want to feel part of it. I mean, Latin America is a perfect example. You must have a local presence. You have to be there. People want to see you, people want to touch you, people want to talk to you, and at the same time, that gets trustability.
Well, I mean, we're coming back to what we had discussed previously. It's again all about a relation and the trust. So this is what differentiates you in closing or not.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have things like China, for example. You have other matters that are possibly out of your control. You go there, you do all the research, you establish a business there, go to the expense of setting up algorithmic payment systems to get the money out, bank account abroad, all of the costs involved in setting up a branch office in a difficult environment like that. And then China blocks the internet connection, and then that's the end of that. And then you've wasted the time and money. It's not your fault. Or you do some kind of IB seminar, and they have an animosity towards foreign companies because it's from the free world. So you go there, and they will destroy your seminar. The authorities will destroy the seminar. Or you go to somewhere like Turkey, and you have to set up your own technology provider as well. You can't just say, okay, I've got my liquidity from CFH or Sukden or LMAC, and I've got technology from Boston Technologies or from Leverett or something like that. And I go into Turkey. The Turkish authorities say, hey, you need to have an actual Turkish technology provider attached to your company.
I think we all sort of take pride in that we're these global companies, that we've got clients from all over the world. Well, but the reality is, you really have to target your markets, because you can't be everybody, to everyone.
That's right.
So it's very difficult, and you have to do your homework ahead of time, because otherwise it's going to be very expensive to back out of
places.
The
problem.
And the license requirements as well. I mean, for every license, you need to put down significantly amount of cash to get the permission and to be registered. So
right, and a lot of you're right. And what happens is a lot of companies, despite the global presence, are going in this. To a certain extent, as though they're the first to do it, because, like Karin Zaltberg said, when we were on the talk show relatively recently, nobody will admit if their business failed somewhere because of some regional factor that occurred, or they didn't do their research properly. They don't stick their hand up and say, "Oh, I failed in Singapore." So no one knows what the barriers are. They have to do it themselves.
Right.
Well, the communication goes usually the other way around. So we are here now, but you don't hear from anyone. We're out of here.
That's right.
Yeah, you quietly exit.
Yes.
Yeah. There was a discussion panel at a conference a couple of years ago where there was one particular well-known company that had been starting to remove its offices from certain parts of the world, and it had been kept quiet. It came up at the conference, and the chief executive at the time, who's no longer there, he said, we did that for strategic reasons, because he had to think of a reason but obviously it was just not, something there wasn't viable.
Right.
I mean, growing and opening different branches and be locally is not just like I wake up and I had a dream and I'm going to do it. It is a whole procedure. It's a strategic thing. I mean, it takes years. For us, how many years it took us to have, for example, 5 licenses, 11 offices? It's not done day to night.
No, that's right.
And each jurisdiction is different.
That's
right. So you really have to...
America, Middle East, Asia, everything is different.
So maybe there's a possibility that in the future, we've got all these non-infrastructure type systems now with cloud hosting and so forth. There might be a way that companies can tailor their specific, they do their research, invest in doing the research and going there and so forth, and then actually offering a different type of system to suit each environment from one hosting service. Maybe that might be a good solution.
It's definitely going that way. And you just think from a regulatory perspective, you know, it's certain clients cannot go to certain jurisdictions. So you've got to build that into your technology also.
Absolutely. And, so, absolutely right. And that's a really fascinating thing. You really think about it. In the last 10 minutes or so, you can see how we've covered from the very beginning to now. Look at the difference. It's just not recognizable anymore. So we'll certainly look at that again. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
I'm Andrew Saks-McLeod from Leap8. This is Dukascopy TV. You've been watching the Forex Industry Talk Show. See you again next week. Goodbye.